Unscripted
awards. Is that what we're gonna do? This unscripted, Jess, is gonna be end of the year award. But
No.
Oh.
Yeah, why not?
No. Left it
I was
out.
like, oh really?
I'm just noticing cousin's shirt too. That Ultimate Warrior pick from WrestleMania 6.
Wrestler of the year this year.
Is Hogan on the other side of it? Because I can't really see it.
Macho.
I only see his Warrior.
It's got the Macho Man. Yeah. Yeah. Hogan's like, brother, better not have me on there, brother. Copyright.
Because I lost, brother.
Copyright.
This shirt's stupid.
Yeah, so it's the end of the year, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think we've all talked it over during the week about our choices on what we're going to do for categories. So
I think, did we have mid-year awards earlier this year in the summer, or no? Am I going crazy?
It was kind of like, just kind of.
Yeah, you
like
guys did. I think my video kept
formal
freezing,
one?
so yeah.
It was more just like personally where you felt like, as far as like, what do you like going so far? And, you had a certain wrestler. It was just more of a discussion. Just have a discussion.
It's been a blur. There's a lot of wrestling, but it's
Actually has
the business in good shape this year.
That's why maybe we should start with the or did you want to say anything before we start, Jess? Like about it?
No, I don't like it. No, it's been a good year. It's been a fun year.
I think Craig was talking about a blur. I think with stuff that's happening in 2025, I'm going to see more of the blur because it's going to be easier to watch wrestling now. Not live, but it'll be easier to watch wrestling at home, is what I would say. So, interesting fact sets about wrestling. You used to be able to watch for very little per ticket, and now tickets have gotten just insane. Yeah. Unless maybe AEW and New Japan come into town and make them a little cheaper, but WWE is out of control.
Someone shared a screenshot with AEW PLEs already showing up on HBO Max for like the 2024 PLEs. We're already kind of beginning to populate on there, so that's very cool.
And then Dynamite,
finally,
Dynamite inclusion after the day after, right? After it airs on TV.
The day after.
That's cool. It's like fuck Hulu, anyways. Then screw. Like, Hulu sucks now, anyway.
It's super smart. Like finally,
that's actually.
I hope
really
it's enough. I hope it's enough to get more eyes on their product. But man, like,
and that's actually more. That's more accessible than WWE because you got to pay for Hulu Plus for WWE the day after.
They should have had this.
That's
when
like
they
$40,
had
where Max is less than 20, right?
Oh, and because they had the Netflix kickoff party or whatever the fuck they wanted to call that this week too. WWE did, and Triple H. I really believe that they're going to pull the library off a Peacock when that contract's over, and Netflix is going to get it. Because Triple H kept saying this is just the beginning. Like we're going to get more influenced on here. So like they're going to move their entire library over to Netflix sooner than later.
But they're still going to appease, I guess, NBC, right? Because they want to give them Saturday Night main events. Who knows what else they're going to start giving them? Maybe.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, and that could be why they revamped it too. Because if Peacock loses the library, like they have no other reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good reason to keep Saturday Night's main event.
That's going to be good for streaming then for both, like for all wrestling then next year. WWE on Netflix because I think that would be better than Peacock.
Like
I hate Peacock.
Maybe it doesn't have to go away from Peacock. Maybe it's on both. Maybe Triple H is going to try to get it on as many streaming platforms as possible.
I would totally ditch Peacock and just go Netflix. But yeah,
sure, yeah. At that point, why not? Yeah,
maybe it'd probably be a lot better.
There's good content on Peacock. It all kind of depends on what you.
Yeah,
like if you're, like,
I just don't like that.
Before, if you're into the Olympics and things like that, and there's a lot of sports on Peacock. I mean, Craig and I have talked about this too. There's good content outside of WWE on it. But if that's all you have it for, then I get it.
It's more of the app, the way we were so spoiled with the WWE Network app. Like that thing was amazing.
It was pretty good
in comparison. That's why
done.
But it's Peacock's not as good. Don't mistake my words. But Peacock's gotten better in the last year.
True.
Like they have added little things.
It's not a bad app in general. But.
Yeah, they've added little things that make it a little bit better. Like when you sit on the square for too long, it'll say, "Do you want all the episodes or just play this one?" And then you can click, and so it lets you. There's like different things that you can do. So it's not as bad anymore. But I mean, it
might depend on what.
But when you compare it to the
WWE
WWE Network app, it's
I missed the WWE.
It's still the
Network.
shittiest app in the world if you compare it to the WWE Network.
Yeah, I like.
You spoiled with that, man. That thing was, God, I loved it. And then SmackDown, they announced. I mean, we already knew it was coming. 3 hours. They announced that today.
Just too much.
It's too much.
No, it's not. Just don't know. How are we gonna?
I mean, they'll make tons of money and they'll be fine, but like,
there are a lot of people that we've talked about that we feel like are getting a fair shake on television, not getting their time. That extra hour can really help some of those people.
The Wyatt Six and the Final Testament if we only have 2 hours of SmackDown and 2 hours of Raw?
I mean, where are you going to find room for IC and US Women's Champions? I mean, you got to find room
that they definitely are going to have to fill up the time now with that stuff. They better utilize it.
But at least now, I mean, unless they go to way more vignettes, which I won't like live vignettes, which we always hated because it was just filler. If they actually put legit matches that tell good stories and it's really good, then you can. I don't know if you're gonna get through 3 hours still, but you can at least go through your content. Like it was kind of like when Jess talked about WCW going 3 hours. There was something for everybody in each hour, whatever you wanted. Like if you wanted to watch cruiserweights, it was in the first hour. You can watch that. In the last hour, you can watch your NWO spiel. It was. I don't know if they'll separate it like that, but you can always find the matches you want to watch. And with streaming, especially if you're watching the next day, you can fill through it. But we'll see what happens. It's
extra hour for picture in fucking matches.
I'm not too scared of 3 hours. But we'll see.
I mean, because the product is better anyway, so it's more tolerable.
I also am gonna very heavily commit to AEW now. It's on Max and watch that. And
that's gonna be more accessible. If I can get rid of Peacock and just keep Netflix and then get Max, that's it.
And I already have Netflix and Max, so it's.
I don't have
a
Sling
done
anymore.
deal.
So
there you go, man. Drop that cable stuff. Yeah,
drop that cable. It's alternative cable.
The only at this point, we're starting in January. The only reason why I would keep Sling is for SmackDown.
Yeah,
but I may not. Yeah, because I have Netflix. I'd rather just keep Netflix and Max.
I hate to say it, just Daily Motion works great for that. I mean, you probably already tried it. It works great for SmackDown.
I'll just jump and do that because there's no reason. I only watch wrestling on Sling. I don't ever do anything else with it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and more than half the time you can find a feed that has no commercial breaks. Not even some parts of Daily Motion does have commercials on their own platform, but I've found several because there's several copies of SmackDown or Raw the next day on it, and you just can find one that's if it's like 100 and I can't remember if it's like 90 something minutes or something. It's like no commercials at all because you can just tell by the time frame that it's using on it. So most of the time because you just interrupt. So it's just I don't know how much longer they're gonna get away with that. I should probably stop talking about it because someone's gonna catch wind of it and kill Daily Motion. But so
that'd be hilarious.
Podcast host that sank Daily Motion, and it's just a picture of Dave going.
That'd be funny.
Sorry.
We'll remember for something now, guys.
So sorry.
Oh man, what else was there?
All right,
I guess we could just go into the awards, right?
I picked a little fight on comments section of some guy I thought they knew about wrestling this week, on socials. Yeah, he was saying that Liv and Rhea was tired. I was like, dude,
no.
I'm like, stop! Like, you need to watch. And they both were in agreement. They're like, yeah, it's tired. Like, just get it over with. And they're like, no, we want to see so and so and so and so. We do watch, dude. I'm like, if you're watching, you realize it's like the feud of the year. Like, in my opinion, I don't know. I know we kind of have that on the list, but like I'm like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about right now. This is insane. What woman do you want to jump into that story with them right now? Just they couldn't name one in the.
It's just all it is the fallout of wrestling going back to long-term storytelling. It's the people that were on and that are used to the last 15 years of just fast and rewrites and feuds only lasting a month and then going away. Like those are the people they'll just shut the fuck up and either go away or they'll just conform. Who cares?
Yeah, I think that's
because the product's good enough that you'll end up just be like, okay.
Pro wrestling's supposed to be a semi-soap opera anyway with looping storylines, and that's what the territories were about. It's about getting you to come back the next month or whatever. Like, so you see the next saga unfold or whatever. It's just people who say that are just fucking dumb. Like they just think
right? It's real.
Yeah,
it's real.
Yeah,
it's
their job. It's their job.
It is.
It's my job.
They do a damn good job at it.
Really, bro? No, I have other jobs.
They do a damn good job about being terrible wrestling fans.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Shit.
The fans.
Yeah. What was the other terrible Brian Alvarez take this week that we posted? Like, bad take, bro. What did he? Oh, he said that Chelsea Green should not have been the first U.S. champion. I was like, bro.
I'm just now rethinking of
what are you watching? What are you watching, bro? Like, it was the perfect choice. You'll always remember that.
That's our friend.
Way over.
It's our friend Brian Alvarez.
Yeah, but I do respect his
best friend
opinion
Brian
as a friend. He's a great friend. I do respect his
Our
opinion.
first follower, apparently.
But-
Yeah.
I do respect
He's
it.
watching right
want to
now.
not be friends.
Right.
With him, I don't want to hurt. I don't hurt.
Yeah.
I just
The friendship. Exactly right. Exactly right.
I'm just saying I just couldn't
bro.
disagree with him more. I think it was the perfect choice for that.
Yeah, she was. She definitely was perfect choice for that. I mean,
She's over.
yeah, she's
Over
over.
like we're over.
She does.
She is.
She could work. She actually can work. Go back and she was just
Yeah,
in NXT not too long ago, doing a couple of matches.
Yeah, he
down
said
there.
he wanted to see a better worker. She's not a bad worker. I mean,
Did he not
she's
watch
not EO.
Chelsea versus Julia on NXT a couple weeks ago? Like, what are you talking
Did you
about?
not watch Chelsea take that huge ladder spot into the tables a few months back? I mean,
I mean, she's
all the
definitely,
while hyping
not
up
afraid to take some big
how
bumps.
she's afraid of heights and totally
Great.
sold all
That's
that.
great story.
Yeah. And several are like former wrestlers, like big wrestlers like Dudley's and stuff, have said like no one has made a better use of like 2 minutes of time in the last like 5 years than Chelsea Green. She's made every bit of TV time count, and you have to applaud her for that, man. She's great. So I don't know. I think it was the perfect choice, and I think it was. Someone said she didn't deserve it. She fucking earned it.
Oh yeah,
And I thought that
yeah,
was like the best line.
Yeah.
So
She definitely earned it.
yeah,
I mean, who's going to win?
agree.
Michin?
I think so.
mean,
And I
Michin
like
wasn't-
Michin.
and I
It's
did
just
too,
she's
but
not at that level.
as far
though
as the
yet.
crowd response right now, everyone
right.
favors Chelsea.
Although I do hope Valkyria wins, in a couple weeks, whenever that goes down.
I can see that happening now more and more.
I think it's going to be her.
Just
I
the
think
way
it's gonna be.
I don't know. They showcase her.
And the crowd likes her. The crowd's responding, not like Chelsea responding, but they're responding.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
She's good in
PLE
NXT.
tomorrow?
I'm sorry.
What?
Is there PLE tomorrow or today when this?
There probably is. There's probably one right now.
Well, not
What's the
WWE,
AEW
though.
one?
It's,
Is that
I think
next
it's next week.
Okay, that's all.
I think
And we're not getting a
AEW,
WWE one until February, right? Shoot.
or
Yeah.
Saturday
We just
event.
had
It's
Saturday.
Saturday's-
We had Saturday's night main event.
There's one in January.
and there's one in January, and then the Raw on Netflix. That's pretty much
Yeah,
PLE.
because Rumble went to February. You said, right, Jess?
Yeah,
Yeah,
February
it's like the
early
2nd.
first
February?
week.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
it's like the first week.
I haven't. I
That's gonna
don't
be cool.
remember when a Royal Rumble wasn't in January. Maybe it never was. It's odd. Just not seeing it.
Yeah, I don't
in the
think-
first month of the year.
Has it? Yeah, I don't think it's ever been February. And then are they still
Crazy.
doing Elimination Chamber in February? I
They
think,
did.
right? Are they still doing that? I don't even know anymore.
I don't know.
Or they move everything around? Probably.
Everything's pushing forward. So
Oh, Paul, you're so
No.
crazy.
Long-term storytelling.
all right.
one
Do we
the
want
place
to before we go into the whole thing? Do we want to kind of talk about what we all decided? Because you were going to go into it, like what we all decided the categories were going to be.
Yeah, we could. Oh, let me see. Let me pull that back up.
I think let me give it a try and see if we have obviously best male wrestler of the year, right, and best female wrestler of the year. We have match of the year,
Mhm.
PLE of the year, our biggest surprise of the year, best feud of the year, and then we have one that we can just pick of our own. Like it's,
And then that tag team was like a last minute
Tag team. We should start with tag team since that
I
was
am
kind of
not
like-
doing a tag team because I don't
Let-
think there
let's
was
start with
one
that
that
one.
really stood out. Nobody. I'll start with that. Nobody. I don't have anybody.
Oh, dear.
I'm a little
I do have one,
disappointed
but-
I'm a little disappointed in the tag team the last couple of years overall. Like
I do have
it
one that
definitely
will
has
win
the
by.
PS5.
I do have one that wouldn't win by default, but I have.
I knew you were
put-
gonna say default.
I put NA, but I mean, like, if I had to choose one, Judgment Day, the only thing I can think of, like,
On fire.
That's the
the
one that
only
comes to mind for me.
constant.
They are, and they are
Yeah.
on mainstream. And if you watch NXT, it's a little bit better there. And I would say Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
There you go.
They've
That makes
been
sense.
tearing it up big time.
Yeah, it's just it has not been a very big year for
But
tag
it's
teams.
not-
AEW tag team division totally sucks.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
They just lost sight.
And by the way, not to get too far off skew, that could be a great way for them to highlight people that don't get a lot of TV time. It's just
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
sure
great.
who's
Emphasize the
Impact
tag division.
Who is Impact Tag Champions now? Like, there's no one that stands out that's stealing headlines.
right. Craig,
So
did
good
you
to
have
get
one?
that out of the
Are
way.
you, are you
Craig,
going with,
did
are
you
you
have-
going with nobody else?
Did you have anything, Craig?
It's tough to justify it, but I mean, every time, and because I don't think they wrestled a lot, but FTR still always, to me,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, they've
the,
just been-
the foundation of good tag, but they've been floundering
Your
a bit.
standards.
It's injuries and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
injuries and stuff. Yeah,
But and then we forget, like, so it's only been 1 week, but who knows where this New Day thing's going? But that's a hell of a heel turn. That's a great.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a bit early to say New Day because they've also been floundering and teasing a breakup for.
It's almost like saying War Raiders because they just won the tag titles. It's like,
we'll go with that. War Raiders. There you
go. War Raiders.
Well, congratulations, War Raiders.
There you go. War Raiders. My choice.
You're transitional champions for the New Day. Congratulations.
It's probably you're right. That's probably exactly what it is.
Absolutely what they were doing.
Oh my god!
They just didn't want to do a program with Judgment Day because New Day will take their heat. So it's like don't cross paths between Judgment Day and.
Well, you could do a 3-on-3 tag and then not and then
you can't have two factions go against each other with the same word in the last part of their faction day. It's not. You can't do it.
Oh yeah,
can't do it.
Well, maybe they should combine then the new Judgment Day. There you go.
Yeah, the new Judgment Day.
It's all badass.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, that can actually work with Kofi and Xavier.
You just created the greatest.
I'm glad we got tag teams out of the way. That's good. You want to keep going around like that? Or you want everybody to read their own?
No, keep going around.
Okay. Do you want to start from? Well, do you want to go with the big of the big? I mean, I don't know if Wrestler of the Year male is really the biggest end all be all. But we could start there. What do you guys want to do?
Do it. No, let's go.
All right. I'll start off with a wild one for you. And he's not a title holder. He's not anything like that. But I think he's had the biggest impact, and he might have had the biggest impact for the last year and a half. And I'm gonna go with Dominic Mysterio. I think he's the Wrestler of the Year for me. I think I know it's a weird take, but I don't know anybody who's had the kind of impact on a crowd on a daily basis and has done the things that he's done. Turning on Rhea after Rhea kind of converted him and beat him up for like 6 weeks. This is like over 2 years ago. It has the ability to turn and kick Rhea out of the Judgment Day and bring Liv in. That whole turn, which I think we all kind of expected, but we weren't sure if it was going to happen. It was still kind of a nice surprise when it happened. And by the way, people have talked about him. He's wrestling a schedule that wrestlers don't do anymore. He's wrestling a schedule of like 80s and 90s wrestlers, like 6 days a week usually, and sometimes more than once a day. He's wrestled on every circuit he does. He was doing NXT for a really long time. He was doing both shows. He's wrestling a ton of house stuff too. He's putting in work, and he's also, people have talked about it. Dom has earned the respect of everyone in that locker room who could easily say, well, you're only here because of your dad. That is long gone. And I think the storylines that he's been in, how he impacts the Judgment Day in a positive sense, and what the feuds that he's created and the crowd response of like the biggest heel in decades is putting him into my Wrestler of the Year category. You can go with some easy ones, but that one to me is kind of like that dark horse that I think people
That's a good pick.
Yeah, they don't want to give him those flowers of Wrestler of the Year, but he's really good, man, and he's technically amazing too. He is. He can work.
He is.
So that's my pick.
Mine was again generic. Mine's Cody. I don't think there's been anybody else. I don't think there's anybody else on the top level. You could say you're kind of bored with him being a face and all that stuff, and that's fair, I guess. I mean, you could choose to book him different. I just choose to. I like the longer storyline, so I'm willing to suffer through the AJs and the Shinsuke's. Well, Shinsuke was when he wasn't champion, but like the AJs and the KOs and all that stuff, because like I just want to see good wrestling, and like I don't. Again, like when Hogan was champion, like he took on Hercules and all the mid-carders and all that stuff, and it was fine.
You have to.
And these are on B pay-per-views. It's not like he's main eventing WrestleMania with AJ Styles or something or Shinsuke. So like I don't get all the hate on him. I think he's the Wrestler of the Year. AEW's been a mess. Like they haven't had any really solid like world champion or even like the mid world champions to speak of that have been like solid, like consistent for at least 6 months. I don't know. I just can't think of anybody else, even in Impact. I just think Cody, by default, kind of wins it. And I don't mean that in a bad way. He works for it, and he handles it well. He's still handling it well. Like, he's still a respectable world champion. So I just go with Cody.
Yep. And I'll just follow along with that. That he was mine too. It's just undeniable. Like, so they gave him the crown, and he's run with it, and nobody works harder. And
I don't. What does a baby face look like in 2024? You just saw it. Like, so if it didn't shit the bed and he's not 50-50 in the crowd yet, then they've successfully already shown that like a baby face can exist in 2024. The only reason why you really want to cheer for heels is when the product's boring. Like WCW was coming out of their boring period when the NWO got popular, and like so they were cheered. But after Sting and DDP emerged and Goldberg came out, they got booed, like they should, because you had legit faces that had power, like to come in behind them. And I think that that's what's happening. Is like Triple H is trying to reestablish like this is what a face looks like, this is what a tweener looks like, and this is what a heel looks like. And so he has all three successfully defined right now. And I think only this next year is only going to keep those divisions up, which is beautiful because you have a lot of the tweeners. I mean, I think Drew is a heel, I guess, but like really, like you look at Seth's a tweener right now, and you got CM Punk who's probably going to get cheered over him, but he's already gearing up to be a little bit of the Healy Seth, like, and it looks like we were talking about like a little faction might form with those three. But I mean, like, they're more people are going to cheer them because they're tweeners, because people they will agree with the core values of why they're coming after. The faces and the bloodline and stuff. So yeah, I think that Cody's done a really good job. He's done everything he's been asked to do.
Also Cody has an ability to tell stories in a social sense on the medias, and he does a really good job with that other side of it, where you can see great storytelling and stuff stuff in the past.
It does feel like he's been a champion for a full year, but he has not, because WrestleMania will be a full year. So I can see the division. I could see people getting a little bored of him, because it does seem like he's been champion for 7 years right now.
He also wrestles almost every PLE, which Roman did not. Roman was doing it like every other, and it was different.
And it's not his fault, but he's not going to lose the belt every PLE. So it's tough.
You knew Hogan wasn't going to lose the belt.
It's been good. It's been good storylines.
I mean, not when I was
good
10,
matches,
but
it's been good storylines and matches. But you just know going in, no one's taking it from him. So that's the only like.
When I was 11 or 12, I thought maybe Boss Man would do it. But I mean, like, I was young. But like teenagers and people in their 20s, they know Cody's not losing.
We all want our LA Knights.
Just like everybody knew Hogan wasn't losing. Yeah. Because who was your wrestler of the year?
God, I mean, it was going to be a toss-up, but I had to go with my boy Drew McIntyre, man.
Just
all year.
I thought Jess was
so
going to do
good.
that.
He's must see.
I mean, he's the uncrowned heavyweight champion. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So
he's for me. He's
2025 will be his year.
I feel like I have to watch every time he's on, like regardless of whether it's a segment or a match, of course, because we know the matches that he's in, they're always going to be good.
You have to watch the whole end of Raw wherever he's at to see if he's going to show up.
Yeah.
Sometimes he shows up at the very end.
Just even that, and then just even the thought of a rumored faction with him, Rollins and Owens. I'm like, well, I got to watch that.
He's like the most well-rounded,
let alone the other guys are in it already. But
he's like the most well-rounded wrestler in the world. Like at this point, like,
and I know we're gonna do made-up awards later, but I think this is not the one I want to do, but I think maybe we can insert it next year. If we had to do a kayfabe award, someone that keeps it kayfabe even outside.
I knew you were gonna go there.
Oh yeah, Drew wins that one for me. Too,
he walked off the set of one of the biggest podcasts in wrestling.
Because no matter what mood he's in or who he's interviewing with outside of wrestling, he still is holding that feud with whoever he's feuding with. He talks shit on them. He doesn't say like, oh yeah, we were hanging out, we were talking about how we were going to go over our match and blah, blah, No, he's like, oh, he's got something waiting for him when I get him. Like, he stays in character no matter what. So I think Drew gets both of that for me.
If he had a run this year, I'm first of all, I'm glad things worked out the way they did. Not because he got injured, because that could always lead to career-ending stuff. But I mean, like, if he had a run with the title, I probably would hands down have given him Wrestler of the Year. Like, but I'm kind of glad everything worked out the way it was, because we'll keep going with the awards.
I thought for sure, Jess, you were gonna say Drew as well. I thought that was.
I was almost.
I hold on to the old school. I hold on to the old school, like PWI standards or whatever. And unfortunately / fortunately, it's like you got to at least have a significant world title run, I think, at some point in the year. To be considered. Not that that's a begin all end all, but I mean, I wouldn't. Daniel Bryan had killer matches every time he got in the ring, like this year. So did Ospreay.
Right.
But I never thought of them when I thought of Wrestler of the Year.
I'll be the dark horse. I'm going to go part PWI rules, part personal preferences.
Yeah, I went all personal on that one.
Yeah,
because I could have easily said Cody too, and I was like, everyone's gonna.
But yeah, I mean, same thing. I would automatically pick Cody if
and maybe I weaseled out, maybe, but I think I really do.
It's realistic. I
think I really do at my core feel that Cody's Wrestler of the Year, in my opinion. But I mean, Drew was. I did think of Drew. I always think of Drew because he's the uncrowned. He's fucking robbed every 5 minutes, so I often think of him. and justice.
I love how his story has you so captivated, just because I think it's hard for a storyline to captivate you because you watch wrestling for so long, and Drew's story has you all sucked in a good way, and I think that's just so freaking cool, man. That's awesome. They're just doing great things. He's doing great things.
No, he's real, and everybody else is fake. Go on.
That's right. Santa's real.
He keeps
and
kayfabe?
it's Drew McIntyre.
Keeps it in kayfabe?
Yeah, he keeps kayfabe.
Let's go to the ladies.
Another tough one.
It wasn't for me. If we had, I mean, this might be someone's like individual award, but if we had, we don't have inspirational we're doing this year, right? We're not.
No.
If we had inspirational wrestler, even most improved, I would give it to this person, and that's Liv. She's absolutely the women wrestler of the year, in my opinion. Like, I mean, and it's fortunate because Rhea was injured, but she's one of those people that when the top star is injured, like she got to shine. And it's more important to make credible challengers or other stars than just riding Rhea. And I'm not saying that would have been bad too, because more than likely, if she didn't get injured, it would have been Rhea's year. For sure. Because she was ramping up that way. But Liv has just stolen the show, like in the women's division. And like, I mean, Nia doesn't come close to her. Like, Liv is like the best thing like in women's wrestling right now. I gave it last year to Toni Storm, but she kind of wrapped up her year in the summer. And even though if you probably match them month to month, they were on top for the same amount of months. But since I gave it to Toni Storm last year, Toni Storm's my runner-up. But she lost the belt in the summer, and then now she's doing the original Toni Storm thing. I mean, the Timeless is going to come back. We all know that. But she's my honorable mention. But I got to give it to Liv. Like she's just captivated. She's owned that division. Her character has kind of. It could have been a very empty feeling division without Rhea being super active when she was out, and it was not because of Liv. Like Liv kept it all really good. So Liv is my choice.
I'll piggyback that because I picked Liv also. I couldn't see any other way around it. And I think a big part of that is, to your point, Jess, she took advantage of the Rhea injury, which, by the way, she was a part of. She could have felt guilty about it. Maybe she did for a minute, but she also realized that there was a chance to move there too. And I was talking about this just a few weeks ago. The matches that she's had, especially in the last couple of weeks, no flubs, no nothing, always in the right spot. It's so telegraphed that it's not. Her work has gotten insanely better this year. Like I said, she's come a long way from getting kicked in the face by a Bella and getting knocked out in the middle of the match. If we did most improved, I would give that to Liv this year too. Yeah, I think so. Her work's gotten better. Her vignettes have gotten better. The churn with Dom was absolutely amazing. Even though we were like 50-50 that it was going to happen, we still didn't really know, right? But we felt like it could, and when it did, it was lovely. And her whole how she sold it the week before, where he's like, "I don't want you. I don't anything to do with you," and she's crying. And then the next week they actually churn it, and it's almost like she almost didn't know that Dom was going to do it, which was so great. And then all of a sudden now she's one step from like running the Judgment Day like Rhea was. She's right there. You know, she's bringing in her own people. She brought in Raquel basically at this point. So who would have thought that Liv would be a part of one of the best factions of the year, but also practically running it? Because now you can kind of see Finn, because Finn was on top. As soon as you get on top of the Judgment Day, you start to crumble because the group's like, you can't, there's no one's supposed to be in charge and on top. And you can start to see Liv kind of chipping away at him as he's having more issues with his world title run possibilities and everything else. So, but Liv already has the title and it's secure, and Raquel's going to protect her. And I mean, there's going to be some great things from Rhea down the line. That feud is far from over, so I'm super excited to see where it goes. But Liv is I don't even think it's close for me. I haven't watched all wrestling, but Liv is the lady of the year.
Yeah, mine was Liv. I was debating on going like a tie, because although her debut kind of bombed a little bit, and we were like, "What is happening?" I still think she's accelerated. Mercedes Moné has had great matches in AEW. Maybe she's never going to be the best promo, but as far as her in-ring work so far, like she's filling the bill.
She's shaking the rust off for sure. I just couldn't. I couldn't give her not because she didn't save the promotion, because that promotion needs to save itself first before any individual can save it.
Yeah, you can't put that on her.
But I mean, like, and it's not unsavable. It's the tools are still there. Like, but I don't know that Mercedes could have done it. I think we all were. I know Cuz has like an affection for her because from NXT, like when the women's division finally erupted on the national level, she was one of the 4 big ones that kind of was the driving force. So I understand that. And I did think of her, Craig, as well. But at the same time, I'm like, because I do legitimately try to watch her without the magnifying glass because some people are just ready to hate. And they just want her to fucking flub or whatever. Like, but I think, more often than not, she's had the stinker with Britt Baker that sucked. And that was on that was on a pay-per-view. But I mean, she has had good matches. And if they just wrestle her more, like she would get the rust off and she would be the old Sasha, like if given a chance. I just feel for some odd reason, she feels like she needs to be bigger. And so she's forcing herself to not be the old Sasha.
Mercedes Moné.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like she thinks that I need a bigger personality, and I'm like, you were fine the way you were before, and I don't know why you just don't come in as the wrestling machine, somebody who knows her way out of holds, someone who does this, someone who does that. You could still be a heel. You could still do all the stuff that you're doing. I just think she's in her own head. I think she feels like because I left the big promotion, like I gotta be like a star, and I'm like, yeah, but I wonder if
coming back from that tough injury is part of it too. I mean, that break she had was pretty brutal. So,
sure, and a lot of people don't factor that into it either. But I
think that's more here, but you have to get through that, right? So I mean, that injury was pretty brutal. I was wondering if she'd make it back.
If she does like stay in it and she's still good, I mean, she could next year be Women's Wrestler of the Year. Like, she's got the tools. She's capable. Fucking Sasha Banks, for crying out loud. I mean, she's right there.
I look forward to seeing what happens there.
She only really had half a year. I think she debuted in May. So
yes.
So
you're right. Yeah, just to be in the conversation, Craig, to your point, with half a year is pretty exceptional.
But it's Liv's year for sure, and well deserved.
All right, cuz what NXT wrestler are you gonna?
No, I have to go Liv. I have to go Liv.
Yeah,
also,
man, we're all saying Liv. What?
I did have another one, but I think we need to insert this because I know we're gonna be kicking our own asses if we don't. We didn't do a Rookie of the Year. Who would you put Rookie of the Year?
I don't know. See, I did think of Rookie of the Year, but I don't know.
I'd go Tiffany Stratton because she was my runner-up, and I would go Tiffany Stratton.
But she's not really a rookie. Was she wrestled last year?
I guess if you're talking about coming to the main roster and stuff like that, I guess.
Well, I mean, hypothetically, when did Braun come up? He came up this year. I think Braun Breaker.
Yeah, you can go Braun. Well,
to the main roster.
Did he come up this year to the main roster?
Yeah, no, he came up this year.
Yeah. I guess how would we count Ricky then? Huh?
That's what I mean. It used to be very defined before. Like in the PWI mags, it was legitly someone's rookie year, like that they would do. That's true. And you would only end up winning it if you were like in the big 3, like WCW, AWA, WWF, because that's all that they're not going to name an independent.
Because even if you were like in NXT for a couple of years, but then you get promoted to the main roster, wouldn't that be in that?
Yeah, I think that's
hard to say.
That's actually not a bad award to revisit and figure out like guidelines for it and everything, because that is you're right. It's changed a lot.
Especially because a lot of them are coming from that NIL.
Because you could have said Shinsuke was Rookie of the Year a few years ago, but Shinsuke was huge in New Japan and then went to NXT.
That's true. 10 years before that.
We probably have to go based solely off the independence.
It's so hard. Yeah,
that's trying to fit one in there. Try to get one rub in there.
No. I think it's
a good topic.
Good conversation there, buddy.
Okay. Where are we gonna go next?
Tiffany Stratton.
Match of the year.
Oh,
I'm just going down the list. Match of the year.
I'm ready.
Oh man,
you ready? Do it,
this
buddy.
One got
Mine is, my mind was made up when this match happened. I knew that no matter what happens for the rest of the year, this was my match of the year. And that was Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania 40. It's the greatest WrestleMania main event ever. Like it is the most, besides Hogan and Andre, it's the most important WrestleMania moment ever. And it might have eclipsed it finally. When you have a storyline that has to pay off, and you beat Cody the year before, and everyone's doubting, what are you doing? What are you doing? Were you not trusting Cody? Were you what? But it wasn't. It was Triple H showing us that I can tell stories for 2 years, and you're still going to believe in it. And I mean, I think the only thing that might, like, if someone wants to debate me on being the greatest WrestleMania main event of all time, I would only debate it if, like, because Stone Cold didn't do a run-in. If Stone Cold did a run-in, you couldn't ever talk me out of that being the greatest WrestleMania ever. Like, I'd be like, it's greatest WrestleMania. What else do you fucking want? Yeah. It's like a fucking movie where they flash back, you know what I mean, like to everything. And that's what it was. It was a beautiful movie. And not only do Cody and Roman have the best chemistry, did they have move for move a better match than Ospreay in the year? No. Like, but the importance of that match, the write off of the storyline after
talk about
2+ years.
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, and it's someone's taste on what wrestling and
Sure.
but I think it was the match of the year to me. I was like, no, you know what? And did Ospreay have a better match? Sure, like, but I mean, you know, did MJF? Sure, like, I mean, but
technically,
did Daniel Bryan? Sure, like, but I mean, like, with that baggage, that storyline was so heavy and important for this company, and it had to pay off. And just everything they did, The Rock played his role perfect. Everybody, and the more you watch it, I would go back and watch it over and over again, and everything hit different. I would watch each run in. Seth didn't get the biggest response because he's part of the current roster right now, and you know he had lost to Drew McIntyre, and everyone knew he was going away.
At this point.
Him coming back and Roman deciding like I'd rather beat him because I hate him. Like, and their callback to the Shield was just expertly done.
Oh yeah.
And at the time it happened, nobody really realized that interference was what Cody blocked the spear and finally hit him with the third crossroads and beat him. It was because of Seth, and so that's still there. Triple H doesn't do things for no reason. That's still there, and yet, and like, so to me, I went back and all that, and even the Undertaker, like, coming in was awesome, and The Rock was fucking hilarious. Like, I mean, just coming down and cussing as this whole way down the aisle, I'm the fucking boss. Like, as he's walking down the aisle, all of it was perfect, and like the pop at the end with Samantha crying while she was announcing him as the new world champion. I don't know of a more important WrestleMania besides Hogan and Andre. You could argue WrestleMania 17, Rock and Austin, but I mean that Vince turning and Austin turning and going on Vince's side sucked. Like, you know, it was shocking at the time, but it wasn't good for business. This has launched business, just like Hogan and Andre did. Like or you can argue and say that was their peak and they had nowhere to go but down but there. But I mean, that, like, WrestleMania 3, Vince used to leverage cable companies and everything else. Triple H is using the popularity of WrestleMania 40 to leverage Netflix, to leverage everybody else. It's the same thing. It's the same kind of thing, in my opinion. It's match of the year. I don't think anything. It's match of the year to me. Like,
I don't have anything else to say on top of it. It's my same exact pick. I couldn't think of anything that was more important and more impactful than that match this year. Period.
It was amazing.
Yeah. Craig, same or no?
No, I went with the in-ring stuff. So I went with Ospreay and Danielson.
Yeah, you can't.
But you're right. It's two completely different.
And that was great. I think I know what Cuz is going to say, which it does involve Ospreay, right?
We all thought it was going to be that.
Yes, we did. And Cuz, I thought about that the whole time I was thinking about the match. I'm like, should I just choose that? But I had to go with 40, WrestleMania 40. I had to.
Well, I mean, that's not the match I'm going to go with.
Oh, really?
Because I did watch it a second time, and it was like a month ago, and I was like, "Yep, this is definitely my match of the year." And then I watched NXT Deadline, and I saw that Women's Iron Survivor match, and that match took over for me.
I just saw clips of that, and it was good. It looked good.
It was a great match. It was actually incredible, and and also considering that most of those chicks have never been pro wrestlers until they went to NXT. That is what blows my mind.
Yeah.
And how good they were in their chemistry.
They came from that
ring
big
psychology already.
Athlete pool that they grabbed, right? Because
you know what? You know it's me.
The moves, the wrestling, everything. Go back and watch that match.
I just saw clips or whatever, and all the clips looked amazing. Like, so but
Takeshita and Ospreay is my runner-up. It literally was.
I figured you were going to maybe go that. Yeah, that was amazing. That match was incredible.
It was still.
And then Craig's match was incredible. The three-way with Ricochet, Ospreay, and Takeshita.
What about? I mean, even Finn, Priest, and fucking Gunther. That match was crazy.
That was really good too.
That was an incredible match.
But Craig, why did you pick Danielson and Ospreay over the others?
It's hard because I forgot about Takeshita and Ospreay. My gosh,
Revolution. That match was incredible.
Yes, maybe I think just as far as powerful, the crowd was immediately into Ospreay and Danielson, and it wasn't so much a traditional Ospreay just like flippy shit. It was with a lot of Brian's psychology and working body parts and that kind of thing.
You know what, Craig, you are right. I mean, don't be ashamed of that pick because like I remember the limb work in that match too, and that was again like another level that they both opened up. You know, it was all New Japan style like that. And it's just amazing to see Daniel Bryan fucking still do it.
The women's TLC match from this year, or Money in the Bank ladder match. Remember that match was incredible.
I love that match. Yeah, I love that match.
That was another one too.
Right. I just knew I had my mind made up with Cody and Roman, but that was another match that I thought of. I love that match. I thought that match was really good.
That is the one I would go with if I had to go. Straight to the
No, there's a ton of good matches. I had to pick WrestleMania for more of a storyline and emotional thing because I think that's what set it apart to me from all like these technically good matches. Like, but I mean, like how full this year and last year were just fucking full of matches that I'm like, slow down, like goddamn, like it's great, but like Jesus, I don't want to forget them, and I forget a lot of them too. And a lot of matches that are B+ standards by today, they would be A 20 years ago. Like, so it's like, it's really crazy. And it's kind of what mood you're in too. So I mean, I could go on forever about matches of the year.
Right. Yeah. Lovely. We're going to move right into PLE or pay-per-view of the year.
I'll go first on this one again. This is another one that my mind was made up on when it happened, and I have not changed my mind since. And again, not attacking the product, but AEW's been like the last couple months, and WWE's actually not really, floored me with Survivor Series and stuff like that. I'm going with AEW Evolution, Sting's last match. When I saw that whole card, and then I saw the way they paid Sting off, I was like, well, this is my match of the year, and that was back in March. I knew then that was going to be my pick, and it still is. I go back and watch Sting's goodbye vignette often, like just to do it, and I loved it, and it was perfect. And for all the turmoil that's going on in AEW and the why the fuck would you do that kind of stuff that we see sometimes or whatever, like it was perfect. The whole card was great.
You and Craig really talked about that card quite a bit.
The whole card was great, and then Sting's last match was. And when I heard that Sting was like, he agreed to everything. He wanted all the glass, everything in the match. And Darby Allin and him were great together. And like, I thought everything was wonderful. And it wasn't in the WWE. Yeah. It wasn't in the big company that everyone thinks you need to go to have your big send off. You don't. And, good for AEW. And it seems like so long ago that, that 14,000 people packed that building to say goodbye to him. And, but I'm glad he hasn't come back. I mean, yeah, it was this year. Yeah, it's crazy. Like it seems like so long ago. Yeah. Well, AEW seems like a different company now. Like, they were at least still kind of putting respectable crowds together. And Sting sold out that building because he's Sting. And so, yeah, that was my PLE pay-per-view of the year, AEW Revolution, Sting's last match. I think about it often still.
That's a good one. Yeah, you and I are like for flip-flopping. Like, so I went WrestleMania XL. On this one,
that was my runner-up. I mean, I wouldn't split the nights. I think the reason why I didn't pick that one was because night one, because of the weather, it wasn't their fault. Night one was it fell flat, and then night two was amazing. Night two was so it's like I couldn't.
I forgot. Like, no. You know what? I forgot about that. We were a bit underwhelmed. The crowd was underwhelming in night one. The work wasn't. The crowd that we were blaming the crowd.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
forgot about that.
Well,
WrestleMania is a good pick. I mean, it was a hell of a fucking show.
Well, I might get in trouble for this because I actually not only picked WrestleMania 40, but I picked WrestleMania 40 Sunday is what I picked because when you just look at it, I mean, obviously we had Roman versus Cody. We talked about that as match of the year on some of our picks, but you still had the other championship match going on with Seth and Drew, which was amazing, right? And then Seth comes in and becomes a shield at the end. For Cody, and you got Io versus Bayley, which was knockout. You had the triple threat match with Logan, Randy, and Kevin, which obviously we all felt like Logan was going to come out of that, but that match was lights out. And LA Knight versus AJ Styles for nothing except for just bragging rights was incredible. And also Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, and the Final Testament was a great match. I mean,
it was not.
Which is funny now is all those guys, well, not all of those, but Bobby's not even there anymore. Baby. Yeah, I look at that whole Sunday, and it's by far, if you look at it as one day, the best pay-per-view of the entire year. And some people would still put WrestleMania 40 overall, like Craig did, as the best pay-per-view. If you just
I couldn't blame anybody for doing that. It was a great show. Yeah. It was. I mean, it was the show overall. Besides the main event, was so important, and it executed. It did what it needed to do.
If you did separate them and just said you can do Saturday or Sunday as separate PLEs, Sunday is by far number one. I don't even think it's a question. But yeah. Okay, give us your NXT pick, cuz I'm sorry.
WrestleMania 40. Same thing.
Oh, you did the same?
Yep. Yeah. I have to. Yep. Did you say
as a whole?
WrestleMania 40? Jesus Christ. Basically, I mean, every reason that Jesse gave for Cody and Roman, basically that, but for the whole pay-per-view as far as its impact. It had everything. It was sports entertainment, pro wrestling, great matches, great drama, everything all in one. So cliche default answer.
Standing on your
blah blah blah.
Standing on your feet in the living room at that final Cody stuff, like it was just a smile on your face.
I'm like, he did it
like that. You don't like
finally did it. Yeah, but I am gonna go back now that it's on Max. I'm gonna watch that final match with Sting and watch that PLE or pay per view. I guess
it's great.
I think they're all there now on Max. I think is what you guys were saying. So
I don't know if they're all there. Oh yeah, if 2024 is, they'll all be there.
That's awesome.
And Romeo has made an appearance. What's up, Romeo?
Fucking bitch.
Jeez.
Bitch.
Is the next one surprise? Yeah, surprise of the year. Your surprise of the year.
All right.
Mine is you're gonna go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll and it's a little biased because I was actually there. I was at a Raw in Ontario, and the nice surprise was Jey Uso winning the Intercontinental title on a Raw.
Oh, that's cool.
I love that, and I was so excited to see him. And they interviewed him after, and the crowd, I think I told you, the crowd did not leave. I'd say 80% of the crowd stayed and heard him talk while he was sitting in the crowd holding the IC title and just eating it up, and everyone's eating with him. Quite an incredible moment. I don't know how it panned out on TV, if you guys saw that same excitement or not, but it was almost 20 years he's been in there before he won an individual title, and he finally won one. That was, to me, I think that was the best surprise of the year. Uso.
Cool.
Eating it up.
That's a good one.
Good one.
That was really good. I went with something recent. It just surprised me. And that was Shinsuke beating LA Knight.
That's I
was like, wow. I mean, because we all have an affection for Shinsuke, but when he beat him, it was like, whoa! Like I was not.
Nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming.
Everyone.
That's a good one.
And everyone, don't worry, because people were like, "Oh, is he injured?" And that's why they did all this. No, he's not injured. This was all planned. And they said LA Knight is still high up on WWE's, plans for next year.
He was there tonight. He did a 6-man tonight, and Shinsuke came out of the crowd and interfered.
So LA Knight's safe.
Yeah,
I love
just inserting that news for LA Knight and his fans.
I love it. Good.
We all are.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did Jacob Fatu. I took it as just that's
a good one.
Just like you'd heard of that monster and you saw those clips, and then when you kind of see him in person, I think he's going to be a big star. And so you can't take your eyes off him.
Yeah, for sure.
On this new blood, he kind of almost took over Solo. Like he's just that imposing and charismatic. So I'm excited to see what happens with him. But
I like every chance he gets, I love you, Solo.
Yeah, he does like
Solo. So
and he's in the background too. He's like, I'm with you, Solo.
Yeah.
Like he's just
He's
like,
so
it's
good.
awesome. Like, it's fucking fun.
Sometimes he's so impactful with that. I'm like, you're lucky, Solo, that he's with you, because if he's not with you, you're gonna die.
Yeah, Solo needs an enforcer for sure, like somebody.
And
yeah,
Yeah, he's really good.
Well, just the response he gets when he goes face to face with anybody that tries to challenge Solo, the crowd stands for it because they're like, "Well, I want to see."
When him and Braun Breaker went face to face.
Oh yeah, like the whole place, went crazy.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's a good way to arrive.
My surprise is actually the fact that Kofi and Xavier both turned heel together.
That's a good one.
I thought it was going to be one.
You know what?
I thought it was going to be one or the other only.
That was such a great storytelling and great storyline. Like, yeah.
So good.
Using Big E as the foil. I mean, we knew he was going to be there for the celebration, but using him as the foil, I don't think anybody thought that was going to happen. So,
and they made you almost cry for Big E. Like it was Big E's. Kudos to Big E for for not defending himself or whatever.
Yeah.
He
was just taking it like you couldn't believe it. Like his brothers were fucking shitting on him.
Broke my neck.
They saved each other. They saved each other. Like Kofi's singles run was over. Big E wasn't established, and like Xavier probably was going to be on the next batch of layoffs. Like honestly, and then they formed the New Day, which sucked at first, and then they turned heel, and then everyone started like noticing little things they were doing because they love each other. They're like brothers. That's how close they are, and
friends.
They started doing stuff, and then people started laughing more, and then they became this huge overact, like just this massive.
Yeah. They're double-digit tag teams, right?
The trombone.
Or maybe not.
I know it's been overdone. The trombone's great, but I mean, It was a WrestleMania. The massive box of Bootios that fell over.
Yeah.
I laughed fucking so hard. Like, because it was ridiculous. I was like, no, they fucking didn't make an actual live box with massive Bootios like that were bigger than your fucking upper torso. Like, so great. Like, did they rolled out like on the the stage? So good.
So if this was the prediction of this next one, I thought that we were all going to get the same one. Maybe we will. But the Liv one was surprising that we all picked Liv for Female Wrestler of the Year. That was the surprise. I think this one is. I feel like we're all going to say the same thing, so I'll just say it. Feud of the Year. I think it's Punk and Drew. I don't even think it's.
Might
close.
as well put me down for that because that's what I'm doing.
Punk and Drew. Punk and Drew. There's no question.
Yep.
Like,
is it even close? Like,
the way they kicked off night 2 of WrestleMania was excellent. Like, man, like he was robbed. I fucking hate it. But I mean, like, it was just perfectly done. Like, just him and you knew it. And then I remember their first 2 matches being a tad underwhelming. They weren't bad. They were fine. Like the strap match and all that stuff. And I was like, man, but then when they had the Hell in the Cell, holy shit.
Yeah,
like,
cage match
I mean, that was
sick.
one of the ones I thought about for match of the year too. It's like they just paid it off perfectly. Like, they were absolutely the Feud of the Year. And the injuries made it better because like they had to wait more. And just a segment they did, that one where Drew wasn't supposed to be there, but then he attacked Punk and he just came in the arena with Punk over shoulders and Punk is bleeding. He just throws his body
that was
like straight down or whatever. Like, that was fucking
the payoff,
awesome.
The payoff for Drew is he's going to win the title in Scotland.
Of course,
Clash at the
listen.
Castle or whatever. But
everyone, shut up! Like,
it has to. There's no way it's not.
Fucking,
that is a story in itself.
You don't have to tell me.
And I can't wait.
That crowd's gonna explode.
Yeah, it's gonna be
when that
amazing.
happens.
Is there a PLE in Scotland this year?
Maybe, I mean,
Coming up.
it might not even be next year. It might be the year after. After he gets done on his heel.
It's gonna be this year.
I would. I mean, I
We'll
will
see.
so.
He's a crowd champion.
We'll see.
He is.
Yeah, that was an easy pick. Feud of the Year for me is CM Punk and Drew.
Yeah, love it.
Sure, everyone's got their made up awards.
The made up award.
hear
Who
these
wants,
ones.
who wants to go for? I don't know if mine's as good as your guys. I'll just do it. But one thing that's been really, and I feel like Craig turned me on to this because we started watching AEW pressers. Because you just never know what's going to happen. They're so ridiculous and fun. And WWE is doing pressers after the matches, and they've been doing them for probably longer than we think. But when the PLAs are over, I'm like, I'm definitely watching the pressers now because you just never know what's going to happen. And so I put like best presser moment of the year was one that I picked because I love that Roman made a reporter leave the room on night 1 of WrestleMania.
So good.
Because she would not acknowledge him. And it all started, and it's all ad-lib too, because the reporter's like, first of all, I acknowledge you. He's like, good. By the way, acknowledge me. And Paul immediately like, whoop! And there was one person that booed him. He's like, who was that? Leave. And he waited. He's like, I'm serious. I will walk out right now if this person doesn't leave the room.
All like that.
He's like, that's not how this works. And I'm like, man, what a moment. I was like, my eyes were glued to the TV for a presser that Roman was doing. And we hadn't even gotten to night 2 of WrestleMania yet. And that was my favorite presser moment.
I have to go back last year. Did we do these last year, these awards? Was Roman Wrestler of the Year last year for us?
I don't.
Probably.
I don't
I
remember.
just don't remember. Because there are great moments like that Dave's talking about that I forgot about Roman, the heel Roman, like, which is so excellent. And at a time, too, like, The Rock could overshadow anybody, and Roman really had to, like, really make his presence felt. Just show
to hold his own.
The storytelling and everything, like. So, yeah, that's really funny.
I love that moment.
Yeah, the pressers have become like a really cool, and now they're all like slickly produced, so it's not just the presser. I like the old presser actually before they redesigned it, where they're going outside and inside, and then back to the press room.
Oh, yeah.
I just like the old AEW like
having it sitting
presser.
there, right?
Yeah,
right.
But
or Tony's sitting there the whole time just waiting for the next person to come in.
That, by the way, that's a Japanese thing. New Japan and All Japan did them all the time in the 90s. There was always pressers.
Oh yeah, the press.
It's lovely.
Mine's kind of generic. Mine is sort of like it's a hybrid, like maybe underrated or MVP or even like a combination of like the glue. And I felt this way before this past Wednesday about him. But once I saw the match this past Wednesday, Darby Allin is like the underrated MVP of AEW. hands
that's a
down.
good
Like, well, he has been for forever. Like, him and Roderick Strong had this match that nobody talks about a couple years ago when Roderick Strong first came in there, and it was just stellar. And everything he does, the Brody King stuff, like everything that he does is really, really good. And the fact that he went toe to toe with Ospreay, like, it really just shows how talented he is. We just think of him as Cactus Jack. He falls, or Spike Dudley. He falls, fucking does ridiculous things, which he did a ridiculous coffin drop on the apron, like again, and like he just is. He does amazing stuff like that. But then if you don't like that, watch him get in there and go beat for beat with Will Ospreay, and he did it. And I was like, God, like I had already chosen him in my mind for this, and then I was just like, when I watched the match, I was like, fuck me, like he just completely like.
He's really good.
Like he just completely like solidified my individual award is that he's like, it's kind of like a hybrid. He's underrated. He's MVP. Like he's the reason why whenever I see him, I'm like, oh, and even my kids, again, it's another thing too. When they see it, they love him. Like they're just like, oh, Darby Allin, like because he's small and he's fucking feisty and like, you know, all that. So yeah, I don't let them watch all of his stuff because he bleeds a lot. But yeah, there's just some things that I'm like, man, like he's so underappreciated and, yeah, I think he's great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a Warrior Award, man. There you go.
Warrior Award. I did the Best Behavior Award. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who has 180'd CM Punk. I mean, like,
there you go.
When he left AEW, we were like, what a shitbag that guy is.
I told you, Dave, that he had tons of passion left in the tank. I told you.
And then he's just
proved me wrong. It took way longer than we expected, but you proved me wrong.
It did take a while.
He's apparently freaking model citizen backstage doing whatever they ask him to do, and he is probably gonna. There was rumors today, and they're teasing Roman and CM Punk for Mania, so he's gonna headline, potentially even headlines
with no title. Probably with no title on the line at all, it won't matter. You know,
yeah. Yeah, somehow he's going to get his thing, which is poetic because it's what he really always wanted. He's won the world title. He's like, I just wanted to fucking main event the show. Like, I thought that I should be in the main event. Like, everybody dreams.
And he should have. I mean, let's be real, he should have. But people are. It's funny they're using that as a storyline right now too. Like, he left because he couldn't headline. And he's like, he wrestled the Undertaker, and it was kind of like it was Dudley saying it on his podcast, but he wasn't saying it as Dudley. He was saying it as this is what Seth should say. I thought it was kind of beautiful. I was like getting kind of mad. I'm like, "Fuck you, dude. He's better now." But he's trying to give like Seth some knowledge on how to handle promos with him going forward. But yeah, I think Punk is most improved, and the
way that Seth should handle promos with him is when he gets upset. And I think Seth's the best, like because he tries sometimes. I watch Seth try to slow down and keep up. You're not going to keep up with CM Punk like on the mic, like you're just not. And not Seth has come a long ass way. But when he gets mad, like the Netflix presser that they had or whatever, he was awesome when he was mad. Like his face was red and he's like, I don't like you. Like, and that's when he starts talking like that. I'm like, yes, more of that. Cause you really don't. And like a lot of them were pissed when he left. Like a lot of them were, and then and Cuz was mad, like because the way he left and the way he started knocking the company and he started shitting on the company and everything. And like people got, Seth still talks about that. He's like, you fucking left. Like, I stayed, and we tried to make this place the best we fucking could, and we went out the other end. We should be reaping the rewards of this great era that we're living in right now, not fucking you. Like, you know, and I love it when he talks like that, because it's true. Most heels have that original thought is true. And then, like, it's the way they act that makes them a heel afterwards. Like, Macho Man. Like, we all saw the same thing. Like, but Macho Man just went over the top, and then that turned him a heel, and then he started abusing Elizabeth again by pushing her down and get away from me, and that was the old Macho Man. So we're like, boo, you're a heel. But really, if we all thought about it, we're like, Hogan was kind of he was being a cock blocker. He was being a dick.
Right.
Like, and so
he was the true heel.
All good heels, all great villains have that core. Drew McIntyre, when he starts fucking talking, when he gets mad and he starts talking about, I'm like, he really believes that. And you see it in his face. He's mad. Like, he thinks he's the best. And like, you know, and Punk too, when Punk gets going, like, he thinks he's the best too. And like that he left for a good reason. And I made it better by me leaving. And Seth, you just don't understand it. And it's awesome. Like that could be a feud of the year next year, Seth. And,
I know. Yeah. I'm excited for that one coming up.
It's pretty impressive, Craig, about Punk and what he's done. I think what people kind of fail to see is that the WWE that is what it is now is because Punk left and made a huge ass stink. And even though he refused to come back for so long because he probably thought it never changed, there were these little hints where he's like, wait, Seth and his wife got 2 weeks off? He's like, what? He's like, that sounds great. He's like, what's going on over there? And he actually made a joke about it in a presser somewhere. He goes to AEW, realizes that it's, I hate to say it, kind of a shit show. And he's not sure if he should take charge or if he shouldn't take charge. He did the best he could. I can't believe I'm actually defending the guy. And he comes back to the environment that I think he essentially in some ways created that is way better for wrestlers now than it was when he was there over a decade ago. And I think he was a big part of why it changed and why things got exposed the way they did so it would change. And then he got to go back and enjoy that. And of course he's like, I'm so happy to be here because I think he was a part of that change. It's a full circle.
I mean, I don't give him
story.
that much credit, but
you don't think you give him that much credit?
No, because the only reason why everything changed is because Vince got kicked out. If Vince was still there, it'd be the exact same. Like
I agree. Like, I agree with that. But the stuff
Vince wasn't changing
about
shit. Like, and then when Triple H came in, Triple H, I'm not saying that he wasn't for a couple years before trying to really push Vince into going, because you saw certain things creep on the main roster that had Triple H's fingerprints all over it.
Sure.
But Vince would always shut it down. Like, shut Black and Gold down because he got mad. Like, and I'm not trying to act like I know I work inside the wrestling business, but that's literally what he did. Like, he got irritated, and then he was like, "Well, fuck it." Like, no, like,
but it's like that. It's like that.
If Vince was still there, Punk Punk maybe still would have come back because Vince is very.
But he
good
wouldn't.
At
But he wouldn't.
people.
But he probably would have been in and out.
Especially
It would have been
if
more
Cody
like
the changes are not because of what CM Punk did. It was because Vince.
Well,
is
I
gone.
feel like he pulled the curtain back a little bit, and then more things get exposed, and then
I do believe one of the I can give credit to Triple H in the sense that he was one of the people that Punk blasted on that podcast,
right?
With Colt Cabana, and he had a lot of venom for Triple H, and I
About
think
the drug
it's
test
awesome
and
that Triple H let him back in. It was like, whoa, let me show you that like I have the same vision you do. Let me, let's just do this together, and like it's been a great marriage so far since then. So I mean, I get what you're saying, Dave, but I just don't think that with Vince there it would not have changed. Like. Vince was the problem for a long time.
All I'm saying is I feel like Punk was able to pull the curtain back, and then then more things get exposed as it comes.
But a lot of the things that Triple H is implementing to make people more comfortable is shit Punk was bitching about when he left the first time.
100%.
Like, so yes, like it does come full circle. I get what you're saying, but Vince being cut out was,
big part
getting the cancer out, and then now
they're both the same. They're both straight edge. They both don't drink or do drugs.
That's true.
Like Triple H.
The whole time.
But one doesn't.
So wait a minute. We actually can be friends.
They came together.
It's funny. That was the first mention of Vince. An hour and 2 minutes in, we had we've almost buried the man. It's like the man who created the entire thing and read for 40 years.
He did it to himself, though. Like he did it to himself.
No, I know, but it's amazing how how quick we forget, right? Like.
It's funny that he thought protecting his legacy was don't thank me on Hall of Fame speeches, don't talk about me, even though he was one of the biggest characters in his own company's history and in wrestling history. Mr. McMahon was the biggest character.
Stories are
besides
insane.
Steve Austin, he might be the biggest villain ever. And with Steve Austin being the biggest character, one of the biggest. It's
100%.
like, but that wasn't going to protect his legacy. It's just your legacy is the little blips in time that you leave as you go down the trail, and he left some shit literally, and it's like man, it's fucking unfortunate, but you're right, Craig. Like I'm glad to leave him behind because the product was so bad, like with him there towards the end, and I there was so many times where I was like, I think I'm done with this. Like, why am I doing this? Why are Muppets here? Why am I doing this? Like, it just got to the point where I was like, I don't like any of this, and then. Bray Wyatt would come along, or the CM Punk movement, or the Daniel Bryan movement, and I'd be like, "This is why I like it." It reminded me of these things, but the whole thing though sucks still. And finally, it's like it was like a switch when Vince left. Like you saw it instantly. Man. Like, and Triple H didn't change everything at once because he knows like we have a lot of time. And things are still changing.
Remember
now.
How that started? With Dexter Lumis sneaking through the crowd, like, wait a minute, what the hell? Like, that's
like exactly. He would just start doing stuff to make people
like
talk, and it got old wrestling fans like us stimulated. We're like, what's going on, watching it, going, I like that shit. Like, it's what made me happy during the Monday Night Wars. It's what made me happy when AEW first started. It's what made me happy, So yeah, we've come a long way. It's funny that you say that, Craig, because it's like he's our wrestling dad pretty much, but like we're just kind of like I don't want to talk to dad anymore. Like for a long time, like it's weird. It really is. Like
kind of, he's an abusive dad for sure.
But the machine that he left behind is his. It's because of him. You know, the fact that it went public, the fact that you know, the other con, the good one, like took over and like helped him with business stuff and all that, you know, and like that was all Vince. All that stuff was strategically the network, the buying of the old territories, buying of WCW's library, all that was him. And like that, you know, the camera angles that the NFL fucking bought from him, the trademark cameras and stuff. Like it's amazing the legacy that he left.
We have two more things that we can thank Vince for after that.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. Craig's right. It's like he's getting more and more distant, but like it's crazy what he did start it all. Like this little germ of an idea when he bought the territory from his dad, and like how it exploded. He became the cancer. Like after a while, it's almost like those mythical leaders that you hear about or whatever, or even like the legit, you have to knock me off the pedestal. It just so happened legally it happened. It wasn't like anybody outsmarted him or, you know, like physically pushed him off the throne. It was like he was removed and then Triple H took the throne. And as time plays out, I would not be surprised if you find out that Stephanie and Triple H were a little bit more forcing investigate him. Yes. Yeah, I do. No, I believe it because I think they always. I think they knew. I think they knew at that point. Like
he has nothing to hide, but you gotta.
Yeah. So,
cause send us home, man.
It's a great year. It was a fun year in pro wrestling.
Well, I was gonna say it's thanks to his company that they're actually going to be the recipient of the most important award of the year for the Halloween 3 joke of the year goes to WWE Survivor Series War Games 2024. Step on up.
Yeah.
And it's also
that's going to be a staple for next year.
Well, it's also
Halloween 3 award. What's going to get the Halloween 3 award?
The Halloween.
Is that the worst? Is this the worst pay of the hottest wrestling company right now? Is that the worst pay-per-view of the year?
I don't even say, it's not even saying it's the worst. It was just kind of like that one that was there. You're like, whoa. Why do they do that?
Because the standard is the bar's
pretty,
they go that road high
on
for
this one.
But the bar's pretty high for WWE PLEs though. So if it's the worst, it's the worst.
Well,
it still had great moments.
What's the worst? I think that pay per view was still a B- show, and
I'm counting right. It was still good. It was just
Yeah.
I mean, do we all forget the shit that we review sometimes? Where I'm like, what are they doing?
Oh my god, yeah.
WCW 1991. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, when you send out reviews anything in the 90s or 80s, I'm like, oh fuck, because I'm like, we're watching such great stuff right now.
And if I say anything 1995, I'm just setting you up. You know it. Like
I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we're in for a long night. Yep.
If I say, hey, this 1995, you guys are like, oh, okay, this is gonna be he's stretching us.
It's also
in the heart basement. Yeah,
he's stretching us in the virtual heart basement.
God,
it's also thanks to Vince. Where are we able to see each other at next week at Craig?
Mm-hmm. At the matches in 2025.
At the overpriced matches.
Yeah.
No, they are overpriced.